Welcome to the St. Croix Valley Athletic Association's Flag Football Rules Training. In this presentation, we will be reviewing the rules, highlighting key points, and clarifying certain concepts. The official printed rules are available on the SCVAA website. Please take the time to read and understand these rules to ensure a successful season. Any questions you have can be referred to the SCVAA Flag Football Commissioner for clarification. This presentation follows the structure of our league's official rules book. It provides a clear overview of the rules and a foundational understanding of game flow. In-depth evaluations of specific or recurring rule violations will be addressed in separate, focused discussions. Section 1. The game. The game will be played with 5 players per team on the field at any given time. A team can choose to play with 4 players, but no less than 4. If a team chooses to play with 4 players, the opponent can still play with 5 players. If a team doesn't have at least 4 players within 10 minutes of the scheduled game time, or at any point after the game begins, it will forfeit the game. For example, if a team starts the game with 5 players, but loses 2 players to injury, that team will forfeit the game at the point it cannot safely put at least 4 players on the field. All forfeits are scored 7-0 for the winning team. Coaches will choose a team captain for each game. The team captains will meet at midfield for a game of rock, paper, scissors. The winner of rock, paper, scissors will have the choice of playing offense or defense first. The loser of rock, paper, scissors will choose the end zone they would like to defend for the first half. All offensive possessions will begin on the offensive team's 5-yard line, except where possession change is due to an interception or a failure to convert on 4th down, where applicable. In the case of an interception or turnover on downs, the ball will be placed where the player was ruled down. Each team will be allowed 4 downs to cross the line to gain marker. There are 2 line to gains on the field, one at the midfield mark to gain a new set of downs, and one at the end zone to score a touchdown. Failure to cross the line to gain in 4 downs will result in a change of possession. For the kindergarten first, second, and third grade divisions, the offensive team will use all 4 downs to attempt to reach the line to gain. Punting does not exist for the lower divisions of our league. The 4th, 5th, and 6th, 8th grade divisions will have the option on 4th down to either attempt to convert or punt. A punt will change possession with the ball placed on the opponent's 5-yard line. Note that there is no actual kicking during a punt. It is just a declaration that the offensive team is surrendering possession of the ball to the defensive team. A change of possession will occur after a team scores a touchdown and makes an extra point attempt. The offense fails to cross the line to gain in 4 downs. The offense elects to punt. The defense intercepts a pass. The defense scores a safety. And at the end of the second half. The team that started the game on defense will start the second half on offense. End zones the team are defending also switch at halftime. Section 2. Terminology. The terminology section of the rules book provides a definition of key terms used throughout the manual. Most terms are straightforward, but a few are worth mentioning here. The flag football field will have 2 line to gain markers. One at the midfield marker where the offense will receive a new set of downs, and one at the end zone where the offense will score a touchdown. The no-run zone is an area within 5 yards of the line to gain marker. The no-run zone is designed to prevent power runs when the offense only has a short distance of 5 yards or less to gain a new set of downs, or score a touchdown. The no-run zones do not apply to the kindergarten first grade division. More details are explained in the field section. A punt is a declaration by the offense on 4th down that they choose to surrender the ball to the defense. There is no physical kicking of the ball. The defense will take possession of the ball on their 5-yard line. It is the coach's responsibility to inform the referee if they intend to punt. The referee is not required to ask coaches their intention on 4th down. Charging is an act by the ball carrier where he or she runs directly at a defensive player who has an established position on the field. It is the responsibility of the ball carrier to maneuver around established defensive players and avoid intentional contact by lowering their head or initiating contact with a shoulder, arm, or hand. Flag football is designed to minimize contact between players, and charging increases the likelihood of injury. Flag guarding is an act by the ball carrier where he or she blocks the defensive player's access to their flag in any manner. This can include untucked jerseys, stiff arm, lowering of the elbow or head, or by using the hand, arms, or ball to block access to the runner's flags. Shovel passes are legal in our league and are passes that are thrown underhand, backhand, or by pushing the ball. Laterals and pitches are also legal as long as the ball hasn't crossed the line of scrimmage during that play. These are backward or sideward throws by the ball carrier to another player. Forward passes behind the line of scrimmage are also allowed. Both SCVAA and NFL flag football have a zero-tolerance policy on unacceptable conduct by players, coaches, officials, and fans. Examples of unsportsmanlike conduct are noted throughout the rules book, but the officials are empowered to call any act they deem inappropriate, whether specified in the rule book or not, as unsportsmanlike. Officials are required to report any unsportsmanlike or unnecessary roughness calls to the league commissioner for further investigation and disciplinary action. Section 3. Equipment. All players will be issued SCVAA flag belts, jerseys, and shorts that will be theirs to keep. These will be required to participate in all games. The jerseys are two-sided, and the home team will wear the darker colored side of the jersey, while the visiting team will wear the lighter colored side. Jerseys must also be tucked into the shorts to avoid confusion. An official can call an untucked jersey as flag guarding. Mouthguards are required whenever a player is on the field, including games, warm-ups, or practices. Although this is non-contact football, incidental contact can occur, and we strive to avoid injury whenever possible. All shoes must be closed-toe style and secure. Sandals or slip-on shoes like Crocs are not allowed. Cleats can be worn but cannot have any exposed metal. Players must remove all jewelry except for medical alert bracelets. If glasses are worn, they must be athletically approved construction with shatterproof lenses. Players are allowed, but not required, to wear soft shell helmets, as long as they are always secure while the player is on the field. Elbow or knee pads and gloves are allowed. However, any brace with exposed metal will not be allowed. Hard casts, even if wrapped and padded, are also not allowed. Footballs will be provided to the coaches by the league. These will be NFL flag footballs, blue peewee sized footballs for the kindergarten first, second, and third grade divisions, and brown junior sized footballs for the 4th, 5th, and 6th through 8th grade divisions. The home team will provide the game ball. Game balls may not be intentionally altered in any manner and must maintain an air pressure between 4 and 6 psi. Coaches are responsible for ensuring compliance with equipment guidelines at all times for the safety of their players. Officials will remove any player from the game that does not conform to the equipment guidelines. Players may re-enter the game when their equipment is in compliance. However, the game will not be suspended while a player is fixing an equipment issue. Section 4. The field. The standard field will be 70 yards long by 25 yards wide, including the two 10-yard end zones. The line to gain can be at one of 2 points on the field, either the midfield marker where the offense will be awarded a new set of downs, or the end zone where the offense will score a touchdown. For all change of possessions, except for an interception in all divisions or a turnover on downs in the 4th, 5th, and 6th through 8th grade divisions, the offense will start on their 5-yard line with the line to gain at the midfield marker. If the line of scrimmage is placed within 5 yards of the midfield line to gain marker, the offense is now within the no-run zone and the ball must cross the line of scrimmage on a pass. Handoffs, passes, and running behind the line of scrimmage is allowed. as long as the ball is ultimately passed across the line of scrimmage. Once the ball crosses the midfield line to gain and a fresh set of downs is awarded, the line to gain and the no-run zone shift to the end zone. Even if a penalty or sack pushes the line of scrimmage back behind the midfield marker, the only no-run zone the offense is obligated to observe is the 5 yards prior to the end zone line to gain. Please note that the kindergarten first grade division will not use the no-run zones. They may run the ball from any position on the field. The one-way or half field will be 40 yards long by 25 yards wide, including the one 10-yard end zone. These fields will be primarily used for the kindergarten first grade division, but could be used for any division if field space is needed. There will only be one line to gain on the field, at the end zone where the offense will score a touchdown. For all change of possessions, including an interception or turnover on downs, the offense will start at the starting line of scrimmage, with the line to gain at the end zone marker. The offensive team will always travel in the same direction. This will require teams to change sides on each change of possession. There are no punts on a one-way field. Teams will have 4 downs to reach the end zone. If a team fails to convert a touchdown, possession will change and the ball will be placed on the starting line of scrimmage. There are no safeties on a one-way field. If a ball carrier's flag is pulled or steps out of bounds behind the starting line of scrimmage, the ball is ruled dead and placed at the starting line of scrimmage. Interceptions are dead balls and are not returnable. The intercepting team will be awarded the ball on the starting line of scrimmage. Section 5, Timing and Overtime. The game will be played in 2 25-minute continuous clock halves with 5-minute halftimes. Each team will be allowed one 60-second timeout per half, and unused timeouts will not carry over from the first to the second half. Note that the timeout will stop the 25-minute continuous clock. Once the official spots the ball on the line of scrimmage and gives the ready-to-play signal, the offense will have 40 seconds to snap the ball. Failure to snap the ball within 40 seconds will result in a delay of game penalty. If the second half ends with the score tied and up to 3 overtime periods will be played. The first and second overtime period will simulate a point after attempt, or PAT. On the first overtime period, each team will be given an opportunity to score a PAT. The coaches will choose to start from the 5-yard line for 1 point or the 10-yard line for 2 points. If the score is still tied at the end of the first overtime period, the second overtime period will be played. On the second overtime period, each team will be given an opportunity to score a PAT with the ball placed at the 10-yard line only for 2 points. If the score is still tied at the end of the second overtime period, the format for the third overtime period will be the longest yard tiebreaker. The ball will be placed on the 5-yard line with the offense facing away from the closest end zone, providing them with a total of 45 yards of playing space. Each team will have one play to gain as many yards as possible. Reaching the end zone will result in 45 total yards for that offense, the maximum amount possible. It is not possible for a team to get negative yardage in overtime play. If the offensive team loses yards or is assessed an offensive penalty, their yardage will be marked as 0. The team with the most yards is awarded 2 points and is declared the winner. If after both teams have had an opportunity on offense and the total yardage gained is equal, the game will end in a tie. The home team, or the higher seeded team in tournament play, will choose which team takes possession first. If the offense throws an interception and the intercepting team reaches the end zone, 2 points will be awarded to the intercepting team and the game is over. If the intercepting team does not score a touchdown, the offensive team's yardage will be marked as 0. If either team gets a safety, that team will be awarded 2 points and the game will be over. Offensive penalties could result in a replay of the down after penalty yardage is assessed, or a loss of that overtime possession attempt based on the penalty assessment. In the event of a defensive penalty, the offense will have the option to accept the penalty and replay the down, or decline the penalty and accept the outcome of the play. The total yardage for the defensive penalty could include the penalty yardage plus the yardage gained on the ensuing play. Section 6. Scoring. Scoring a touchdown will result in 6 points. After scoring a touchdown, the offense will have the opportunity to score a PAT, point after touchdown. The offense will be given the option to have the ball placed at the opponent's 5-yard line or the 10-yard line for the PAT. If the offense chooses the 5-yard line, they have the possibility to score 1 additional point if they can reach the end zone within a single play. By choosing the 10-yard line, they would receive 2 additional points for reaching the end zone in a single play. Please note that if a team chooses the PAT from the 5-yard line, they are automatically placed within the no-run zone, and the ball must be passed over the line of scrimmage, except in the kindergarten first grade division. Penalties will be enforced as if in normal regulation play. Interceptions that are returned for touchdowns during the regular game are awarded 6 points to the intercepting team. If an interception is returned for a touchdown during a PAT or overtime, the intercepting team is awarded 2 points. A safety occurs when the ball carrier is declared down in his or her own end zone. Runners can be called down when their flags are pulled by the defensive player, a flag falls out, they step out of bounds, their knee or arm touches the ground, a fumble occurs in the end zone, or if a snapped ball lands in or beyond the end zone. The defensive team that scored the safety will be awarded 2 points and take possession of the football on their 5-yard line. If a team must forfeit a game, the score will be recorded as 7-0 for the winning team. Section 7. Coaches. Coaches are fundamental to the development of young athletes, and their action can positively or negatively influence these athletes. That is why the NFL and SCVAA have developed philosophies, guidelines, rules, and codes of conduct for coaches. All coaches are expected to adhere to these philosophies, guidelines, rules, and codes of conduct. Refer to Section 17 of the Rules Book for SCVAA Code of Conduct information. Coaching from the sideline is permitted by any number of coaches. These coaches typically assist with player rotation and calling plays. 1 coach per team is allowed to be on the field during the game to assist with calling plays and lining up players. The offensive coach can remain on the field during the play but cannot interfere with the play and must remain 10 to 15 yards behind the play when the ball is live. Defensive coaches must clear the field before the snap of the football. Coaches are not allowed to physically position, direct, or push players to get them into their assigned spots, or physically assist with the play in any manner. Coach can be called for unsportsmanlike conduct for interfering with a play or physically interacting with players. Parents and fans are required to remain at least 5 yards off the field and in the designated viewing area. A team can be assessed an unsportsmanlike penalty for a spectator that intentionally interferes with a play. Section 8. Live ball, dead ball. The football will be in one of 2 states during the game, live ball or dead ball. The ball is live at the snap and remains live until the official whistles the ball dead. At this point, the ball will remain dead until the next snap of the ball. The official will rule the ball dead when the ball hits the ground. This can be from either a fumble, incomplete pass, or a bad snap. In the case of a fumble or a bad snap, the ball will be placed where the ball hit the ground and the down will be consumed. For an incomplete pass, the ball will be placed at the original line of scrimmage and the down will be consumed. For the kindergarten first grade division, a team will be allowed 1 redo of a bad snap per half. Redos do not carry over from one half to another. The ball will also be ruled dead when the ball carrier's flag is pulled or falls out, ball carrier's knee, arm, or other body part other than the hands or feet hit the ground, The ball carrier steps out of bounds. A touchdown, PAT, or safety is scored. The receiver catches the ball without possession of both flags. The ball is spotted at the point where the reception occurred. The 7-second clock expires. An inadvertent whistle occurs. Or the ball carrier leaves their feet other than jump cut spinning to avoid a down player on the field or a quarterback going through passing progressions. Jumping over players to avoid flag pulling is not allowed. A receiver is considered in bounds as long as the first foot or other body part contact the ground in the field of play after controlling the football. Members of the defensive team cannot mimic the offensive team's signals in an attempt to confuse the offense. This will result in an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Player substitutions for the offense and defense can be made on any dead ball. Officials are not perfect, and they may inadvertently blow their whistle. If there is an inadvertent whistle by the official, the play is ruled dead. The offense will have the option of taking the ball at the spot where the whistle was blown and consuming a down, or replaying the down from the original line of scrimmage without losing the down. The officials can conference to change a ruling on the field, but all officials must agree to the change. Please note, coaches are not allowed to challenge plays. All official conferences must be initiated by the officiating crew. There are no fumbles in flag football. If a ball carrier loses possession of the ball without a valid pass pitch attempt, the ball becomes a dead ball. The defense cannot recover a ball lost by the ball carrier, even if the ball doesn't hit the ground. If the ball is fumbled forward, then it will be spotted where the ball carrier lost possession. The defense is not allowed to strip the ball from the ball carrier. Intentional stripping of the football will result in a defensive penalty. The line of scrimmage will be marked at the point of the football on the defensive side and will run the width of the field. The neutral zone is an area of the length of the football and will run the width of the field. Only the offensive center is allowed in the neutral zone. Any other player, offense or defense, who enters the neutral zone will be charged with a dead ball foul of neutral zone infraction. Officials are allowed to give courtesy notifications to both teams to allow players to line up outside the neutral zone. Section 9. Running. The quarterback is the offensive player that receives the snap from the center. The quarterback is not allowed to accept the snap and then run across the line of scrimmage with the ball, unless the defense is rushing the passer in the backfield and the line of scrimmage was not in the no-run zone. Otherwise, the quarterback must hand off the ball or pass the ball to another player. After handing off or passing the ball, the quarterback can receive a handoff or pass from another player and is then eligible to run across the line of scrimmage. Please note that in order for a handoff to be legal, the quarterback must fully relinquish control of the ball and the receiver must fully accept control of the ball. And it must be obvious for all players and referees that the quarterback no longer has possession. Placing the ball on the center's back and then reestablishing control of the ball is not a valid handoff, nor is a concealed handoff where defenders or officials cannot clearly see the possession change. Only direct handoffs behind the line of scrimmage are permitted. Handoffs can be in front, behind, or to the side of the offensive player, but transfer of the ball must happen behind the line of scrimmage. The offense is free to use multiple handoffs. Any player can receive a handoff, is eligible to throw the ball as long as they are still behind the line of scrimmage. Center sneak plays are not allowed. During the snap, possession of the ball must be fully transferred from the center to the quarterback. The center cannot pull the ball back through his or her legs and run with the ball. Also, the first handoff cannot be to the center. After a handoff or pass has been made, the center is eligible to receive any subsequent handoffs as long as the ball hasn't crossed the line of scrimmage. The center is eligible to receive the first pass play from the quarterback. Pitches or laterals are allowed behind the line of scrimmage only. Any player who receives a handoff can throw the ball as long as they haven't crossed the line of scrimmage. Runners may not leave their feet to advance the ball. Diving, leaping, or jumping to avoid a flagpole is considered flag guarding. Spinning is allowed, but players cannot leave their feet to avoid the flagpole. Ball carriers may leave their feet for quarterback passing progression or if there is a clear indication that he or she has done so to avoid a collision with a downed player. No blocking or screening is allowed at any time. Offensive players near the ball carrier must stop their motion once the ball has crossed the line of scrimmage. No running with the ball carrier. Section 10. Passing. All passes must be thrown with one hand from behind the line of scrimmage. Although there is no intentional grounding, if the quarterback decides to throw the ball away to avoid a sack, the pass must go beyond the line of scrimmage to avoid an illegal forward pass penalty. It will be the official's judgment whether the quarterback was under duress when throwing the ball and determining if a penalty is warranted. The official will keep a 7-second audible clock, which will start when the ball is snapped. The quarterback will have 7 seconds to either pass or hand the ball off. Failure to do so will be treated as an incomplete pass. The official must stop counting once the pass or handoff has occurred, even if the ball hasn't crossed the line of scrimmage. If any player throws the ball and then catches it, even if the ball was tipped by another player, the play will be considered an incomplete pass. Section 11. Receiving. All players are eligible to receive passes, including the quarterback if the ball has been handed off or thrown behind the line of scrimmage. A player must have at least 1 foot or other body part in bounds and in contact with the ground to gain possession of a pass. Neither the defensive nor offensive player may physically interfere with an opponent attempting to catch a thrown ball. This will result in a pass interference penalty. In the case of simultaneous possession by both an offensive and defensive player, officials will rule the ball dead and possession awarded to the offense. The ball must arrive into the hands of both players at the same time. A clear catch by one player and an attempt to strip the ball by another does not constitute a simultaneous possession. Only one player is allowed in motion when the ball is snapped. All motion must be parallel to the line of scrimmage. Any movement toward the line of scrimmage by a motion player will result in illegal motion penalty. More than one player moving at the time when the ball is snapped will also result in an illegal motion penalty. Note that players may shift formation and can move concurrently as long as the players are set in their new position for at least 1 second prior to the snap. Interceptions can be returned by the defense and could result in touchdowns. Section 12. Rushing the passer. All players who rush the passer must be a minimum of 10 yards from the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped. A special marker will be placed by the official to designate the rush line. Any number of players can rush the quarterback. Players who are not rushing the quarterback can defend the line of scrimmage. The offense cannot impede the rusher in any way. The rusher has a right to a clear path to the quarterback, regardless of where they line up prior to the snap. The path is set pre-snap from the rusher or rushers directly to the quarterback. The path does not move once the quarterback moves. If the path or line is occupied by a moving offensive player, then it is the offensive player's responsibility to avoid the rusher. Any disruptions to the rusher's path and or contact will result in impeding the rusher penalty. However, if the offensive player does not move after the snap, then it is the rusher's responsibility to go around the offensive player to avoid contact. Once the ball is passed or handed off, the 10-yard rush rule is no longer in effect. At that point, all defenders are eligible to rush the ball carrier behind the line of scrimmage. Section 13. Flag pulling. A legal flag pull takes place when the ball carrier is in full possession of the ball. A defensive player may not intentionally pull the flags off a player who is not in possession of the ball. This will result in an illegal flag pull penalty. Defenders can dive to pull flags but cannot tackle, hold, or run through the ball carrier. It is illegal to attempt to strip the ball from the ball carrier's possession at any time. This action will result in a stripping penalty. If a player's flag inadvertently falls off during a play while the player has possession of the ball, the player is ruled down immediately and the play ends. The ball was placed where the flag lands. If a player who has one or no flags in their belt takes possession of the ball, the play is dead at the spot on the field. Flag guarding is an attempt by the ball carrier to obstruct the defender's access to the flags by stiff-arming, dropping the head, hand, ball, arm, or shoulder, or intentionally covering the flags with the football jersey. Flags must be on the player's hips and free of obstructions, and the excess waist belt must be tucked in or taped so it cannot be confused with the flag. Many young players have a natural running style where their arms are dangling at their sides, which can lead to flag guarding penalties. It is best to coach players to run with their arms in front of them or with both hands on the football to avoid inadvertent flag guarding. It should be noted that penalties, including flag guarding, should only be called when they materially affect the play. A ball carrier's hand dropping in front of his flag without a defender in the immediate area should not be called as flag guarding. The defender must be attempting to pull a flag when the ball carrier blocks access for the penalty to be called. Section 14, Formations. Offenses must have one and only one player lined up in the neutral zone, the center, and up to 3 players at the edge of the neutral zone. The quarterback must be positioned behind the center. Teams may shift formation prior to the snap as long as they are set for at least 1 second before the ball is snapped. Failure of any non-motion player on the offense to be set for 1 second prior to the snap results in an automatic dead ball false start penalty. Only one player can be in motion at the snap and must be at least 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. More than one player moving at a time of the snap will result in an illegal motion penalty. The center must snap the ball with rapid and continuous motion between his/her legs to the player in the backfield, and the ball must completely leave the center's hands. Shotgun snaps are allowed, but not required. The kindergarten first grade division may snap the ball from the side. Section 15, Unsportsmanlike Conduct. If the official witnesses any act of intentional tackling, elbowing, cheap shots, blocking, or any unsportsmanlike act, the game will be stopped and the player will be ejected from the game. The team will be charged with an unnecessary roughness or unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. The decision is made at the referee's discretion. No appeals will be considered. Foul play will not be tolerated. Offensive or confrontational language is not allowed. Officials have the right to determine offensive language. If offensive or confrontational language occurs, the officials will determine if a warning or an immediate ejection is warranted. Players, coaches, and spectators may not physically or verbally abuse any teammate, opponent, coach, official, or spectator. A taunting penalty may be called if the official determines that the individual is intending to provoke someone in an insulting or contemptuous manner. Ball carriers must try to avoid defenders with an established position. Charging will result in a penalty. Defenders must give free release off the line of scrimmage to offensive players. Failure to do so will result in a defensive holding penalty. Defenders are not allowed to run through the ball carrier when pulling flags. This will be considered unnecessary roughness. Rough play will not be tolerated. Fans must also adhere to good sportsmanship as well. Yell to cheer on your player, not to harass officials or other teams. Keep comments clean and profanity free. Compliment all players, not just one child or team. Fans are required to keep fields safe and kid-friendly. Keep younger kids and equipment such as coolers, chairs, and tents a minimum of 10 yards off the field and out of the end zone playing area. Please dispose of all trash in the designated cans. Officials are required to report any unsportsmanlike conduct or unnecessary roughness call to the SCVAA Flag Football Commissioner for further investigation and disciplinary action. Section 16. Penalties. The referee will call all penalties. Coaches, players, and fans shouldn't lobby or harass an official to make or rescind a call. For live ball fouls, the team that was fouled will have the option to either accept the penalty or decline the penalty and accept the outcome of the play. Officials will determine if contact is incidental, resulting from the normal run of play, overly aggressive play, or intentional. There is no mechanism for anyone to challenge the judgment call by a referee. The official's judgment is final. All penalties will be assessed from the original line of scrimmage, except as noted for spot fouls. A list of fouls and corresponding penalties is available in Section 16 of the Rulebook. Throughout the book, any text that uses red and bold letters indicates a foul that can be referenced in the tables in Section 16. Games or halves may not end on a defensive penalty unless the offense declines it. In the event of an accepted defensive penalty at the end of a half, the offense will be given one untimed down after the penalty yardage has been assessed. Penalties will be assessed half the distance to the goal when the penalty yardage is more than half the distance to the goal. For defensive spot fouls that occur in the offense's end zone, the ball will be placed on the 1 yard line and the offense is awarded a first down. For offensive spot fouls that occur in the defense's end zone, the defense is awarded a safety. Section 17. SCVAA specific information. All players, coaches, and spectators must adhere to the SCVAA Code of Conduct. The current Code of Conduct can be found on the SCVAA website under the VAA Information tab. The SCVAA Standards of Behavior section of the Code of Conduct states that participants, coaches, trainers, staff, officials, and spectators are expected to behave in a manner that positively reflects the values espoused by all sports played within the SCVAA and its affiliated associations. Coaches are responsible for the conduct of their players and any assistant coaches. Parents are expected to behave in an acceptable and positive manner at all times. Unsportsmanlike conduct during games, matches, or practices will not be tolerated. Coaches, players, and parents will know and comply with the intent and spirit of their sports rules. The SCVAA has a zero tolerance policy regarding unacceptable conduct. We will follow the posted SCVAA weather policy for all practices and games. This includes lightning, severe weather, excessive heat, and air quality alerts. Equal playing time is mandatory for all players. It is the goal of the league to provide every child with the opportunity to develop as an athlete. With this in mind, it is required that all players receive at least one half playing time during each game, and that each player be actively utilized. Coaches are required to abide by the spirit of this rule. Players may be freely substituted at any dead ball. The officials will not give the ready-to-play signal until player substitutions are complete. Physical interaction between coaches and players is prohibited. Coaches are not allowed to push or pull players for any reason, including lining up for plays or to encourage action during gameplay. Congratulatory high fives or fist bumps are allowed. Flag football is a fast-paced game, so players need to be attentive, listen, and execute their coach's instructions and hustle to their assigned position as quickly as possible. Section 18. Grade-based guidelines. To assist in player development and simplify the game for younger teams, we have adopted grade-based guidelines for certain aspects of the game. No run zones will be enforced for all divisions except the kindergarten first grade division. The kindergarten first grade teams are free to run the ball from any position on the field. The 4th grade and 6th through 8th grade divisions will have the option to surrender possession of the football on 4th down, referred to as a punt. These divisions risk turning the ball over at the spot of the ball if they don't convert on 4th down. For the kindergarten 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade divisions, declaring a punt is unnecessary because a turnover on downs results in their opponent taking possession on their 5-yard line. For the kindergarten 1st grade division, 2 coaches can be on the field to help line up players. Both the offensive and defensive coaches can stay on the field during play, but must avoid the action. For the 2nd grade division and older, only 1 coach is allowed on the field to call plays, and the defensive coach must clear the field before the snap of the ball. Rushing the passer is not allowed for the kindergarten 1st grade division. For all other grade divisions, a rusher must be 10 yards from the line of scrimmage at the time of the snap. If the offensive team isn't in the no-run zone and the quarterback, who is the player taking the snap from the center and has not yet handed off or passed the ball, is being pursued by a rusher in the offensive backfield, the quarterback is eligible to run with the ball past the line of scrimmage. The kindergarten 1st grade division will have the option to snap the ball either between the center's legs or from the side. The kindergarten 1st grade division will also get 1 redo of a bad snap per half. For all other divisions, the center must snap the ball between their legs, and there are no redos of bad snaps. A fumbled snap results in a loss of down and placement of the line of scrimmage where the ball hit the ground. If the ball hits the ground in the team's own end zone, the defense is awarded a safety. Section 19, Rules Update for 2026. Additional overtime periods were added to clarify extended play procedures. Defensive coaches may assist with player alignment but must exit the field prior to the snap. Exception, this does not apply to the kindergarten 1st grade coaches. The definition of a valid handoff was clarified to reduce confusion during live play. Please review the rule book sections for additional information regarding these rule changes. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. The official rulebook is located on the SCVAA website. If you have any questions, please contact your coach, division coordinator, or flag football commissioner.